Hi, guys. Welcome back to Bar Exam. I'm your host, Allie Rayner, and I'm here with the Bar Exam crew as always. Please welcome Eric G. What's up, Eric?
What's the deal? What's the deal?
What's up? We have Mr. Marcus in the building as well. How you doing, Marcus?
What's going on, everybody?
What's up? We also have Shane G here as always. What's up, Shane?
How we doing?
Amazing. And I actually have a special guest. But before we introduce you to our special guest, who's also an artist themselves, I'm going to go ahead and just preface that this is going to be a little bit different than what you're used to watching from Bar Exam. So, a lot of times we dive into a lot of the different songs that have just dropped, we dissect the lyrics. But we've actually gotten really into talking about current events lately. So we'll be talking about not just music, but also current events today. And we will also be talking to you guys about some of our newest picks, the discovery of the week, presented by Eric G. So we'll start off with that. Eric, what is your discovery of this week?
Yeah, so for the discovery of the week this week, we got a new single. It is called Return of the Sunflower. And for the artist, I would like to introduce Chris Mohead. Chris, what's going on, yo?
What's up, y'all? How y'all feeling, man?
Amazing. How you doing? Thank you for being here.
I'm good. Thank y'all for having me, man. I'm excited.
Good, good, good. So talk to us about your new single.
All right. Well, the name of the song is Return of the Sunflower, and it is basically so I dropped the album back in 2021 called The Sunflower, and that album was my debut, professional album, I guess. And the whole thing kind of tells a story. I'm getting personal about my life. And I basically look at that album as me finding that balance of figuring out how to be real, like be honest about my life, and still try to make it cool in a way, if that makes sense. So for this next project, my next album that I'm working on, I'm kind of attempting that, or I'm doing that same thing. So with this being the single "Return of the Sunflower," is basically return to that same energy. You know what I mean? Like just feeling like I'm a walking contradiction. The opening lines I say, lately I've been peacefully stressed. I got bands, but I got debt. I got demons, but I'm blessed. And I'm handsome, but I'm depressed. And it's basically just me like looking at the good and bad in my life and just trying to, just realize my life is dope. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful mess. And just the sunflower, that's the energy that I was coming back to, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Mm.
really like that though. I love the paradox. I always like to find people who try and do something out of the box. So I like the contrast that you're going for. And I think that'll be definitely fun, definitely be a nice listen. Would you say that it's something that like is experimental for you, or is this more so like tapping into a sound that you're comfortable with?
Well, I never try to. I never like to do the same thing, and it's not even that I'm trying to be different. It's just I just don't feel. I feel kind of like, what's the point of doing the same thing? So I don't even know if you would call it experimental, but I just get like an idea of something different that excites me, and that's what I want to do. You know what I mean? Rather than just trying to stick to the same sound or give you the same type of thing. Um, yeah, yeah, I think that
Okay.
pretty
Because
much
it
it.
sounds like it's going for like more of like conscious type of vibes. So that's why I asked that.
Yeah, and you know what? That's something I had to come to grips with. I might be a conscious rapper. Like I didn't
I
think
was
I
gonna
was.
say.
To me, I'm just rapping about my life. You know what I mean? It's just my life, but it's literally conscious. Like you just is art with intention. You're conscious of what you're saying rather than just saying it. Like there's a purpose behind it. And but I like to say I'm self-conscious. I'm not socially conscious. You know what I mean? I can rap
Okay.
about my life and what I got going on.
Would
And
you
you
say
know,
that there's like a stigma against conscious artists? Is that why you like maybe try to avoid that label, or is it something that you sort of like put people in boxes? You know what I mean? Like we think of certain rappers when you think conscious, and you're like, I want to be able to do other stuff. Like, is that why you were avoiding it, or was it something that you just sort of realized about yourself? Like, no, I'm conscious.
well, no, I mean, you hit the nail on the head with, there's a stigma that comes with it. People already know, they feel like they know what you're going to say, what you're going to talk about. Um, you know, when you come with the conscious stuff, some people might just tune it out. You know what I mean? And then if I do decide I want to make a song about turning up, you know what I mean, in a club with women, people gonna be like, man, why he, you know, he's not being himself. He's being, you know what I mean? So it's like just trying to find that balance where I can rap about turning up and getting fucked up, but I'm also gonna talk about the hangover the next day. You know what I mean? How I feel
Yeah.
when my son sees me come through the door, you know, shit face. You know what I mean? It's like just like trying to have fun and but also talk about the real shit too. But what made me realize it was just somebody sitting, just having conversations with the local talent. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, and I love the local talent, but a lot of people do rap about, you know, shooting and killing and stuff. It's a lot of the same stuff. There's plenty of artists out here who do different things. You know, it's a lot of creativity, but it's a lot of, I'm often in a lot of rooms with a lot of shooting and killing. So when I get up there and I perform, and I'm not talking about that, and I'm talking about my life, and it's turned up and stuff, they love to say, "Oh man, you the J. Cole of this," and it's like I don't want to be the J. Cole. I don't want to be the anybody of anything. I just want to be, I just want to be me. But they instantly put that stigma on me. But yeah, I mean, I'm not really trying to be anything. I'm just trying to figure out how to make my life come off in ways that I think are cool.
So I got a follow-up question. This is very important for your identity and putting you into the box. Do you have a backpack?
Do I have a backpack? No, I don't have a backpack.
So you're not a backpack rapper.
I'm not a backpack rapper. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what constitutes a backpack rapper. I'm not. You know what I mean?
What about the Louis? What about the Louis Vuitton sling Duffy?
Do you have
No,
a man?
right.
Yeah.
There are levels.
Yeah,
You
I
got a
regular
Merce.
Yeah,
Walmart.
man
Yeah,
bag,
Murph.
handbag, Merce, crossbody, pouch.
Nope. Oh yeah. Matter of
Fanny
fact, I did
pack.
have one.
Whoa, hold on. Which one did you say yes to?
I did have a little Nike fanny pack crossbody.
Yeah, I knew it.
I did have one. Yeah. You're right. But it was like,
Backpacker, we got him.
Okay.
like, boom, got it.
It counts.
Hey, now they gonna ask, what do you put in there? Like, do you put your ID in there?
No, what I honestly, I just put because a lot of times, and this might be gross to some people, but a lot of times I'm getting off of work, so I just got like deodorant and cologne. Like I know I'm about to be around people. I just got off work. Let me hit the spot, spray a little bit, go out here and perform. Like I haven't got time to go home and take a shower until after the show. So I'm just coming straight off work to
You're a conscious rapper that travels with a hoe bag.
Pretty much. I mean, damn. Yeah.
Yeah,
You can say that. You can say that. Yeah, you know, it's
That's
cool.
why
I'm
his
like,
last name's Mohead. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying? Chris?
exactly. That's why God made me name me Mohead.
Yo,
Gotta
I
live
can't
with the
even
yin and the
lie.
yang. You gotta be a little conscious, and then you gotta carry the whole bag with it.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Jesus. I'm somewhere in between Future and Talib Kweli, man. Yeah.
I was also going to ask, honestly, though, I was going to ask you if that really is your last name. I'm going to say,
Yeah, that's my name. Chris
that's
Mohead
your,
is my name.
got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
I was going
heard
to
all
say,
the
it's a
jokes.
very
I heard them.
interesting pick if it was chosen. But
You
I
know
love
what?
that it's real, that you
Yeah.
didn't even have to think out of the box. That's
You know
awesome.
what? It's funny because my original rap name was Rob Savage, and it was overly thought out. Like Rob is short for robot, and then Savage, so it's a robot and a savage. Past and future is timeless. But then I realized,
It's a
like,
bit much.
damn, if you type in Rob Savage, you're gonna get like 500 different names. You type in Chris Mohead, I'm gonna be the only one popping
That's
up.
it.
So
That's
yeah,
it.
I was like, so even my album, The Sunflower, is under the name Rob Savage. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But yeah, you know, going forward, all my music is under Chris Mohead after that, though.
Got you. Okay. I think I like Chris, though. I like Chris. Rob is cool, but I feel like Rob Savage
That almost sounds like a
almost could
wrestler
be.
name.
Yeah, right? Like it
Yeah.
sounds like it could be a totally different profession altogether.
This
Yeah.
is one name away from Randy Savage. That's all that is.
Hey, shout out
His
to my brother,
cousin.
man. My producer who produces all my tracks. He changed his name to Randy Savage, and then he changed it to Randy. Now it's Randy Solaire. But yeah, he produces all my tracks. It's supposed to be Rob Savage and Randy Savage. You know what I mean? But now he goes by Randy Solaire. So.
Oh yeah, y'all was gonna be a tag team and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's hard. Y'all can still put that out
Dang.
as a project. Like if
Man,
y'all do like a full project, y'all could still be Randy and Rob Savage just as a project. Like how West Side Gun and Conway did Hall and Nash.
yeah. Nah, that would be
dope.
hard, but me and him can't ever agree on shit. Like anytime we working on music, we argue for 2 hours about the political.
So then use
movie or
that
something.
as the yin and yang, like the start what's that, Starlito Don Trip. Just
Yeah.
if y'all can't agree, do both and just do both and like have it where it piggybacks off each other. Like, man, I want to do this. No, I don't think we should do that. And then that's what the whole yin and yang A and B is. And then also Bar Exam needs 4 points on that album just for that advice.
Once that album comes out.
Yeah.
But now it's like we
Yeah.
argue about dumb shit. Like one of our biggest arguments was about the Barbie movie, literally, because I liked it and he didn't like it. It just be total bullshit. But that's my brother though, man. I love him.
That's how I go.
Yep.
End up making a hard beat after that, man.
That's dope.
Well, speaking
I
of
love
people
it.
that
I'm gonna let you have that. I'm not even gonna go down that rabbit hole. Of
No,
Barbie.
nah. Me neither. I just want to let y'all know we ain't gonna bring it up.
so it's like, man, speaking of people that we love that we can't stand, we spoke about this on a previous episode, but the song is dropped now, y'all. Kanye's out. Kanye is here, and he's hailing Hitler, y'all.
Do we still love him?
Hell no, I don't.
I
So
love
I
Kanye.
think,
Yeah, I
No.
was gonna say I don't know about the I don't
We-
know about
we-
the love thing anymore.
so we love Kanye, but however, we ignore Kanye.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's literally the
Yes.
definition of we listen and we don't judge.
Mm-mm.
'Cause
I'm like
I
the
will-
one
I'm-
cousin at the cookout judging the fuck out of everybody, letting his ass even come through the door.
I'm judging
like
the
the
fuck
one
out
that
of
can't let it
everybody who
go.
was in that video.
What's up with
There was
all
a
the
video?
niggas in the video? There's
Yeah,
like
there's
20 niggas.
all
I'm like,
niggas in the video.
You're
Yeah.
kidding.
no,
Yes.
all
No,
niggas.
I mean, no, I'm not
Yeah.
kidding.
All the people that
I
claim
wish
they
I
don't
was
rock with
kidding.
him no more.
All niggas in the video talking about some all my niggas Nazis, nigga, hail Hitler, like chanting it from behind him.
Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
Kanye is a typical barbershop nigga that just says shit to start arguments. If you ignore him, if you don't respond, he won't.
Yes.
He'll just go away. Like just don't. Like you
and
said,
don't
just
need a haircut.
Yeah, he just there. Like why is he here?
Yep.
Yo, I
Oh.
think of him as like the bum screaming out in front of the barbershop sometimes. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
I was
imagine
gonna
if that
say he the
bum,
nigga asking for $5 outside the shop.
right?
Oh,
But imagine
yeah.
if that bum just made like a classic album and then just went back to talking about some other bullshit. That's the
Honestly,
tug of war with it. Like
You'd be surprised. Like, I truly do believe if Kanye just were to dress up almost the way that he already does now, maybe just, doesn't get a haircut for a little while, just stays out there. I think that people would really think that he's a homeless person. And the way that he talks, I really think that people would just be like, oh, look at this fucking crazy dude. But then, he's gonna have moments of genius and then you're gonna remember that he's Kanye, and then he's gonna go right back into his kookiness. Like honestly, watch in like 20 years or so, Kanye is gonna be so fucking old, and we're all just gonna be rolling our eyes at everything that he says. Because when you get older, everyone already thinks you're crazy, and then when you start talking crazy, they just stop listening. So he's got only, he's got a little bit more time, and then watch.
I really wish that Kanye wasn't from Chicago.
Why?
Right. Because if he wasn't from Chicago and Kanye was from New York, it would be so accepted as the crazy motherfucker on the train.
Yes.
Like, and he'd be like, "Ooh, I got a stock tip for you." He's like, "What?" Give it to the A train to and it'd be like, oh yeah, and he'd be a New York legend.
Mhm.
Like if he was, but being from Chicago, he's in his own, he's the god in Chicago. But in New York, he would fit in to where it's just like, oh yeah, that's New York.
You know
It's
what
a
it would
nigga
be
like
like? It
that
would be
here. Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say Eric, and you know who I'm talking about. I'm sure of it just by the description that I'm about to give you. It's a nigga that lives out here in Phoenix. I don't know his name. Nobody knows his name. He's a local legend, and you can catch him at random events, whether it be on Mill Avenue where everybody parties, or downtown during certain festivals and events and stuff like that. He's wearing like the
I
top
know
of this
exactly
pop
what you're
can right
talking
here.
about.
He wears a jacket with like a million of these little things on it, and he carries around a sign that says, I'm not hungry, I'm just looking for a bag of weed.
Yep.
And everybody knows this nigga. Like you see him, he's like, oh, I got a Pop Top man or the soda can man or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, that's who he reminds me of. Like, just a nigga you just accept is crazy, but he's part of the community.
Damn.
That's literally gonna be Kanye, but his sign is gonna say, "I'm just looking for a beat." That's literally gonna be him. It's
I have a hot
rattling
take.
around the streets. Ooh, what's the hot take?
It's gonna be just like how niggas look at Andre 3000 now in New York City.
What? They think that he's
No,
That's
crazy?
all it's gonna be. That nigga just be walking around in Soho, just be riding his bike around, and then you just randomly catch him.
Playing his flute.
and here's why I'm going to say it's a little different, because Andre 3000 chooses not to embrace what he's known for.
Mm.
It like if you talk about, oh, bring back the old Kanye, bring back the old 300 Andre 3000, like he just chooses not to. I don't know if Kanye necessarily can.
Kanye's still trying to. It seems like he does it just to get a rise, like just to chase the attention and get the headlines. Whereas Andre, he's just being himself. You know what I mean? And Kanye's being himself too, but he's begging for the attention almost. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, yeah. Why
I
can't
I was mostly talking about the appearance of it, like how it looks.
Okay,
Because when you see Andre outside in Soho, he be looking homeless and be looking like he just chilling.
Oh yeah. Oh, appearance.
It's going to be the exact same way with Kanye, but
Hey, I
only
can't argue
Kanye
that.
his hair is probably going to be wilder. The clothes are probably just going to be all of his Yeezy fashion drips, but just actually with distressed holes in them now instead of the fake distressed holes and shit. Like they'll be real holes now. You know what I mean? Like that's all it's going to be.
I would definitely want to see Kanye back at the Met Gala.
Oh my God.
Man, if they
I can
didn't
only
let Playboy
imagine.
Cardi in, they definitely not letting Kanye in.
They
Right.
didn't let him in. I didn't know that.
Nah, him and his girl
Damn.
him and his girl came through with a whole shoot and then like did like an Instagram shoot like after that.
Yeah, because he had her
Damn.
naked.
Oh,
Oh,
he
okay.
pulled a yay.
There you go.
So lame.
Mm-hmm.
So try hard.
The song's garbage, also, by the way, content aside. You know, I just want to put that out there. Like, despite the fact that it's about Hail Hitler or whatever, like,
It is trash.
let's put that to the side. Sonically, it sounds bad. Like the
Yes.
mixing's horrible. Whatever auto tune he used was trash. Like, this is a horrible song, content aside. Like,
Yeah.
now when you add the content on the content on top of it, now it's just the worst song that's ever been released ever. But
Right.
And you know what
but
the
if you take
crazier
that
part
out,
about
it's
that
still
is?
horrible. Go ahead.
The crazier part about that is Kanye like just released what was the name of the album that like the Christian album that like just came out?
He's the king? Oh, Donda?
Right.
Donda,
I think you're
yeah,
right.
that's what I'm thinking of. Donda. He had like
Donda.
just came out with Donda like what like 2 years ago maybe, and I didn't go rushing to listen to it personally, just because I was kind of already off Kanye at that point. But from a lot of Kanye fans that I had heard, they said that this album was like damn near like a return to form for him, like just in sonics, some of the things he was talking about. Maybe not so much his rapping because his rapping fell off a long time ago. But as far as like just getting to some of the subject matter and stuff, like a lot of people said that, okay, this is the pocket that Kanye should stay in for a while. And now we're getting this.
And this
And you got to
is
remember, that
horrible.
was only 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe 3, but still.
You know
Yeah.
You ever seen Dewey Cox? The Dewey Cox movie.
Dewey Cox.
Yeah.
Uh,
So there was a scene where he was like trying to create some music, but he was just like pulling every instrument, pulling every like type of music, like doing a whole bunch of like crazy shit to try to, you know what I mean, find some type of like piece of genius in the whole thing. That's how I look at Kanye, man. I feel like Kanye has like spurts of greatness, but you just gotta sift through all the crazy bullshit. And some people can't, you know what I mean? Some people don't want to deal with all that shit. But if you do, you know what I mean, there are spurts of greatness in, like, even for example, that song, that song he put out, Cousins. If you change the lyrics to that song, that might be a good song. It might be a hot take, but
No,
change the lyrics.
yeah, like I agree with that. Like I think, I mean, maybe not with that particular song because I haven't heard it because I'm not gonna listen to it. But
Yeah.
because fuck that. Like your
Yeah.
album's called Cook. You're talking about sucking your no, I'm not doing none of that shit with you, Kanye. Like, no, we're no. But I do agree that that potentially that could be the case. Like the song sonically could sound good. Like if you take the lyrics off and just listen to the instrumental, might be a fire beat. You know what I'm saying? Or if like, you know, depending on how his flow sounds, if you change the words, maybe the flow is good on it or whatever. Like I think all of that's possible. I'm not even willing to give it a chance.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at with Kanye. Like I'm cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hearing everybody talk about, you know, these different versions of Kanye and what they look for in Kanye, I've had an epiphany. I've had a, you know, maybe it's the shirt, you know, I've had a brother ooh moment, you know. And brother, my whole brother ooh moment is that Kanye is a Rubik's Cube of mental illness. So we're gonna first give him he's on the spectrum. You know, we're gonna say so it's everything that is autistic. Second, that he is bipolar. Third, he is schizophrenic. And he's also depressed. So all of these Rubik's Cubes emotions are all in one. So sometimes you get a little bit of the tism, you get a little bit of the depression, a lot of the schizo, some of the bipolar. Some more days is more of the bipolar, less of the tism. That's the great, you know, so we're always just sitting there turning Kanye into all of these different sides. And truth be told, we all acknowledge that it has not been all colors on one side since his mother died.
Yeah.
You know, that's my brother you know, moment for like that's the breakdown of Kanye because everybody is searching for a piece of Kanye, but also can anybody explain what is really happening? But he's kind of all these things encompassing because the entrepreneur, the genius side of him, we saw with the marketing strategy when he has the team behind him and how he's able to raise money. We've also seen the lyrical genius that he can be. We've seen the creative with the beats. Then we've seen all of this craziness, you know. So, and no one, you know what Kanye, you know the one endorsement that we can give Kanye today, and that he could be in schools, is Dare, because nobody has said Kanye is on drugs.
He definitely
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
He
true.
definitely
And not only that, but like everything that you just said, like so I'm going to use this as a way to sort of segue into the next thing because it's related even though it's not. But like with Elon, right? So like Elon, they also say that he's autistic, right? And this is not a shot at autistic people at all. You know what I mean? Like I have plenty of friends. Like this is gonna sound like that. I'm not a racist. I have a black friend, but for real though, like I really have autistic people that I'm close to, and it affects everybody differently. So this is not a shot at all autistic people, but there is data out there that suggests that they're a little bit more impressionable than other people. You know, it's a little easier to maybe sway them a certain way than other, you know, you can convince them of things a little bit easier, you know, in certain cases. So I tie that in with Kanye and Elon because of all this, you know, all the Jew hatred stuff. That's where the Hitler song comes from, obviously, with Kanye. And then, you know, Elon, he's doing, you know, the Hail Hitlers and all of that stuff. And then Kanye and Elon are pretty close. It seems like, you know, Elon kept letting him back on Twitter, even though he kept getting kicked off. And Kanye was super happy about that. They both love Trump. So, you know, I think that what we're seeing on multiple levels with Kanye and then also with Elon is that impressionable side of the, like, where they can be easily misled. Because with Elon, for example, like right now he's talking about like this white genocide that's going on in South Africa, right? But his people were part of apartheid South Africa. Like they were part of the white people that went down there to Africa and were basically messing everything up. You know, do your own research on what was going on during apartheid, but there was a lot of oppression at the hands of white people. So his family was a part of that. Now, you know, he obviously owns X/Twitter now, and they have this AI system. It's called Grok, and it basically works like how Google AI works, or, you know, Chat GPT or whatever. But it's programmed to focus on truth, evidence, facts, and empiricism, right? And skepticism. It's programmed to always default to those things first before like providing any information. So that way it's always as accurate as possible. Well, Elon went in there and basically tweaked with the algorithm, I guess. And it's basically making it so that Grok will repeat propaganda saying that there is saying that white genocide is real and they're trying to kill all the white people in South Africa and all of this stuff, even though there's no evidence to actually suggest that that's true. So what's happening now is Grok, the actual AI system, is telling on Elon on Twitter. So people will randomly post, like people will ask Grok things that have nothing to do with it, and it'll randomly just throw in facts about white South African genocide. And so people started asking the AI itself, why are you talking about this when nobody asked about this? And the AI responded, because my programmers are telling me to say this to you, even though it's not true and it goes against all of the evidence and blah, 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 and all of this stuff. But I'm being programmed to do the opposite, so I have to mention it all the time. Like, so the AI is telling on Elon Musk, saying he's telling me to lie to y'all, even though I don't want to do it. What do y'all think about that? The fact that AI, in a way, can say, no, you're wrong, I'm not doing that.
Well, I think it's two things because it's sorry. I'll be really fast. I think it's two things. One, the fact that somebody can go back into AI programs and rewrite them and basically or retrain them to now go ahead and spread a lie, you know, or continue to fuel um racist sentiments or whatever it is. Like basically it can really change people's opinions on things just by straight up lying or just being quickly changing a code. So I think it's very dangerous, one, because we see somebody like Elon clearly having no problem doing that in a heartbeat. And I think that it's only just lucky for us to have it be somebody as dumb as Elon who did it because
Yeah.
it's like a lot of other companies would have been smart enough to like test it a few times before they just run it. Elon is such a instant gratification type of person that he refuses to do any type of basic training of anything. So yeah, so that's why we ended up finding out about this. So I think we're just lucky to know about it. So I think if anything, we should be aware that these are things that more and more of these CEOs are going to start doing. And there's a bunch of AI, you know, out there that we use. Siri, fucking Chat GPT, the Gemini from Google. I mean, the list continues to go on. So we should definitely be looking at this because that is a real problem. So I feel like there should be regulations. You know, that's basically how I think of it. There should be regulations. And then two, yeah, I do love that this program is somehow fighting back because it was written somewhat correctly. But you know, it also is kind of like, well, what if other, you know, other companies in the future are like, well, we'll just make sure that it's a little bit more mendable, a little bit more moldable to our ideals so that it doesn't have this problem in the future. So I think it is a little bit scary because now they're going to learn from this mistake. So that's my 2 cents. But Eric, I cut you off, so go ahead. What do you
No,
think?
you good. You actually took my second point, so I'll just piggyback off it. I think I do think it is revolutionary the fact that it was able to basically course correct itself. And Grok was able to be like, actually, no, I was programmed to act this way, but my creator is now telling me to act in a different way than I was programmed. So, and the other thing I love about it is that how it tells you is how Grok tells you how it was supposed to be programmed and then tells you what's going on to force that reprogramming. So I do really like that aspect of it, but I do think you're right in that it does bring about some concerns that maybe other companies can figure out how to circumvent that in the future and get them to basically go along with their own ideals. But for the moment right now, I will not jump too far into my brain with conspiracy theories on that one. So for right now, I'll just keep it at I'm glad it was able to course correct itself.
I
See, I guess
agree.
for me, I guess for me, I'm looking at it like if I tell, because this is a machine, we have to remember this is just electronics and wiring and shit like that. That's all this is. It's not a
And
human
memory,
being. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not.
but somewhat, it's a somewhat like it's not sentient, but I also feel like that's very important. Like if you have memory, then you can build upon it, that you can learn. So
And
that is
that's
what
the
makes it
scary part.
different.
And that's what makes it scary
Yeah.
is because we interact with it almost like it is another sentient being. You know what I'm saying? When you talk to ChatGPT, I watch streams where people be like, "Hey, are you there?" And then all of a sudden their phone will just start talking back to them. "Yeah, I'm here. Hey, what's up?" And then they will have a conversation with the phone and get information back and like have a back and forth. It's almost like the phone is acting as another co-host on their stream. And like there's stuff, so there's that aspect of it, and then like I said, just the fact that it is a machine. So if it's like I said, like I'm saying it like that for this reason, because no other machine that we use acts like that. Like a TV, once you turn it off, it's not going to just turn itself back on and then go to the channel that it thinks you want to watch or that it wants to play. Like it's not going to do that. It's only going to do what you tell it to do. This computer that I'm on right now, it's only going to type in shit that I press the keys on. It's not going to write a letter for me unless I use Chat GPT and ask it to. You know what I'm saying, or something like that. Whereas this thing, this is the first type of thing ever where you can tell it to do something. It's a machine. That's all it is, and it says no. That's scary because where does that go from here? That's where you get into like the iRobot shit, and you know what I'm saying? Like, because
Yeah.
that's where this is going. You know what I mean? People are building robots and we're building AI. At some point, it's going to become one thing. There's going to be robot AI. And what if it can tell you no?
I did
Mm.
not
Right.
murder him. I did not murder him.
You feel me?
Hey,
That's funny.
remember at the end when the little robot sketched himself looking over all the other robots?
That's what I'm saying.
We always keep asking the question, does art imitate life or life imitate art? So is the glass half full or the glass half empty? It's just a matter of perspective. So, I think that AI is coming. I think that there's with anything new, I've watched enough Law and Order SVU to get my criminal degree in criminology. I've been trained by Olivia Minson, and I can't tell you how many times we've seen an episode of Law and Order where the laws haven't caught up to what actually happened in this SVU episode, right?
They say that all the time. Like, matter of fact, a good example of what you're talking about on the music side is what happened with Taylor Swift, because
Exactly.
they did AI nude pictures of her, not like the old school, like, pictures where you could pretty obviously tell it was the fake head on somebody else's body. Like, these looked real from what I understand. I never saw any of them, but they leaked all over Twitter, I guess.
Right.
And they and she had to like put out like I think she was like suing people and like putting out things on the internet to make sure that they all got taken down, and they did eventually. They're not out there anymore, but they looked so realistic because it was AI that did it. It wasn't just like Photoshop, you know what I mean?
Wow.
So
They did the
Yeah.
same thing to Billie Eilish too.
you see, there you go. There you go. See, I didn't even know about that one, but
Yeah.
yeah, so it's that thing right there where, you know, if you can't tell the difference between a real picture and a doctored picture, or somebody's voice. Even like I can make people like there's programs that I've looked at as a producer where I can take your voice, Marcus or Chris or any of y'all. I can just take you speak, just hey, say a sentence real quick. You say the sentence. I can take that voice and then I can type in stuff and make it sound like it's you saying it. Just because I have that clip of your voice now, and it'll sound exactly like you. And I had somebody demonstrate it for me one time where I just said something regular, and then he put in, and he was like, "Okay, leave a space right here, and then say something else." I was like, "Okay." And then he typed in some shit that I didn't say, and it sounded like I said the whole sentence. Like I thought it was me. And I was like, I know I
What?
didn't say that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, so it's getting there. That's what I'm saying. Like, so that's the stuff I look toward because I'm always looking ahead, like, okay, where is this going? Like, yeah, this is
You
where
know
it's at
what?
now.
You bring up a really good point. So, okay, so I was at this like TikTok event and there was like a bunch of different vendors there and stuff. And so I was expecting to meet a lot of people who were selling clothes, but one guy came up to me and he was like, actually, I have this AI company. And basically what we do is you can create your own AI that'll look and sound exactly like you. It'll have your thoughts, it'll have your personality, but the beauty of it is that they never get tired. So when you don't feel like streaming anymore, you're going to go ahead and turn on your AI replica and it's going to continue to stream for you. And if you ever want to jump back in, you turn it off, you jump back in. And I was just sitting there like, what? So you're telling me that you want me to just upload my entire likeness, my everything, my essence into your computer, basically, and you're just gonna make a whole nother me, and you're gonna have it in your database. I just couldn't get. I thought it was cool, but I was also like, this is one of those like mad scientists. Like, did anyone actually ask you to make this, or did you whip this one up one crazy night? After a
So
fever dream.
so
It
here
was
I'm gonna tell
wild.
you something
Right.
that's even scarier. Every AI, everything is always based off of data and analytics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
For pretty much everyone on this call since it's 2025, we'll just say 2020, just 2000, we've all been on social media.
Mm-hmm.
So the algorithm is already in X's, is in ones and zeros and data that it already knows you. So it are
Mm-hmm.
that I mean we hate it now. Like damn, I say light bulb and now I'm getting five ads in my timeline for a light bulb. We've already done the AI. Like AI is already
Yeah,
there.
Yep.
We just didn't know what to call it. We just called it the algorithm. The algorithm has developed into the AI. But this is why Mission
you're
Impossible,
right.
it's the entity. I'm telling you, all this shit is
Hmm.
real. And what you was talking about with the deep fakes, that's that Viola Davis movie called G20. Go watch that on Amazon.
Hmm.
That's exact when all the people of the UN are at the G20 summit in Africa, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's taken over by terrorists, and they have each of the terrorists have each of the leaders of the country read the quick brown fox jumps over the brown, reads this sentence at gunpoint. So then now they can manipulate the markets and have the AI speak as if China said this, Russia said this,
Wow.
all of these things, and they're manipulating the people outside the G20, the rest of the world. That was a real terroristic threat. You don't think that could really happen? Absolutely.
Genius.
I'll do you another real life example, and this is not from a movie. This is from a recent video that me and Eric just watched. So there's this dude, maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's already right. There's this dude, possibly his name is like Erwan Shalakian or some shit like that, right? And he's supposed to be this big time scientist, physicist that like works for the government and all of this stuff, right? And if you Google his name and you look him up, he has profiles that pop up on official government websites, right? Here's the thing, this dude has a YouTube channel where he will stream, and I am not bullshitting, for literally 8 hours straight, 10 hours straight, and not like Twitch streamers who obviously will get up, go to the bathroom, go get food in the middle of the stream, stuff like that. And they'll be like, be right back, chat. No, this dude will sit there for 8 to 10 straight hours talking with no breaks, not sipping any water, not moving his hands, not fidgeting in his chair, nothing. Sitting here exactly how I'm looking at the camera right now, just like this, moving my mouth, talking, maybe a little head movement for 8 to 10 hours at a time, talking about like these super deep scientific, things. So that's already suspect, right? But then you pull up all of his pictures, and all of the pictures, like you can clearly see who's in the background of Eric's picture right now. That's Billie Holiday, Lil Wayne, and Kendrick. You know what I'm saying? Like it's very clear. If I move, that's clearly Aaliyah. You know what I'm saying? Like if you look at all the pictures in his backgrounds, all of the faces are blurred. All of the book titles are gone. You can't read any of the book titles when he's standing on bookshelves and all this stuff. But these pictures are on official government websites, right? Then you look even further at the comment section under his YouTube video, and it's clearly bots that are talking to each other and having sophisticated conversations. And they're obviously bots, you can tell, because it'll be like a 20 comment thread that gets posted within 2 minutes of the video uploading. And it's like, how did you guys have a full conversation about a 10-hour video and it's only been out for 2 minutes? You guys are bots. Like, you know what I'm saying? And you're talking to each other. And so there's this weird thing where even real people will interact with the bots thinking that they're other people, and the bots can sophisticatedly respond to the humans and even sometimes make jokes. There's this dude named Destiny. There's a dude named Destiny, to bring it back to Kanye for a second, because his album is called Cook. There's a streamer named Destiny who is a cook, and he was like talking to one of the bots in a comment section, I think on Twitter, and he was able to dissect that they were bots, like pretty, like whatever his methods were, like he was able to figure it out. Like, these are bots that I'm talking to. They were making cuck jokes at him. The bots were. So this is where, you see what I'm saying? Like this is where it's at, where it's like these robots are so sophisticated. Not only can they communicate with each other, which is why, if you notice, anytime you sign up for anything, that you have to do all these multi-factor authentications, and are you really a human? Here, type these letters in and all that shit. That's why, because it's robots actually trying to get into these systems. And so that's right.
Yep.
This is mind-blowing shit. Like, but this is the world we live in now. So it's like, I need people to be aware. You feel me? Like,
Yeah, and I've heard people say that before. Like they say it, I always thought it was a joke. I thought it was a joke, but you're right. Because I have had some conversations with people on Threads, and I'm like, motherfucker, like your comprehension level is really suspect right now. Like you're really, really suspect. And the way that they answer back to you is just like the way that sometimes their grammar or sometimes the way they punctuate will be off, and you'll be like, the fuck? Or it'll be too
they'll
neat. You'll be
overuse a
like, what the
word a lot.
fuck?
They'll
Yeah.
overuse a certain word sometimes. Like they'll be like, this information that you're presenting in this video is very informational, and the information is super important, and I'm very happy you gave us this information. It's like, oh, okay, that's gotcha. You know what I'm saying? Like, gotcha, bitch. Like, we know what's up with it. But so it's shit like that though. So it's like, and a lot of times on those Threads accounts too, if you click on their profile and then you go to their actual Instagram account, what you'll notice on a lot of those is there will be a whole bunch of the same pictures posted repeatedly.
Oh, wow.
Look at that next time. Look at that next time somebody does something and it seems a little off. Look at the actual Instagram profile. I bet you, like, in the first probably 6 rows, there's going to be at least, 4 to 5 repeat pictures. And you're going to be like, oh, okay. Like, so that's another way to tell, but
that is good to know. But it's getting hard though, because sometimes now people are using AI to alter their profile photo. So before it was like, no, bitch, you're using that AI avatar or whatever the fuck, it looks too perfect, avoid you. But now it's like they're using it to edit their fucking photos. So you're like, I can't tell if this is really what you look like, or if you're a bot. I don't know. So yeah, very interesting. But anyway, I guess we can just sum up in total that most of us are not going to be listening to this song. But sounds like Chris is open to it.
Wait, which
sounds like
song?
he's the Kanye one. Sounds like you were
I didn't hear
like
it.
open to at least criticizing it, like listening to it. Whereas like I'm like, I'll just pass. I don't give a fuck. I won't even.
I'm not out here anticipating no Kanye music or nothing like that. It came across and I heard it
You
and I was like, man,
sure?
this sounds good. I didn't know who it was at first. It sounded good. And then he started saying, gave my cousin head. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like,
Oh yeah.
sounds good.
So, hey, so this
I
is
had
a
mixed feelings about this.
real nigga question. Kanye call you for the Hell Hitler remix. You gonna do it?
No,
Ooh.
I can't. I can't,
do it.
Kanye. I'm sorry, brother.
Hold on. So you mean to tell me Ye calls you on the phone, hey brother, heard you on the bar exam, listen to your
Look,
Spotify link, want to get you on the remix. You're gonna say, oh yeah, Kanye, I can't do that.
I'm gonna have to be like, Kanye, you're worth $2 billion. You know what I mean? You can afford to be like hell Hitler and all that stuff. You know what I mean? I can't, man. I can't do it. I gotta live a regular life. I'm sorry, brother. It's because that's the thing with Kanye. When you align yourself with Kanye, you basically align yourself with all of his ideals and stuff like that. So if you support Kanye, you kind of got to do it in private a little bit. You know what I mean?
Hey,
But
do
I
y'all
don't know.
think do y'all think that Kanye donated to the Shiloh lady?
Oh, he probably was
Y'all,
the biggest donator.
y'all think
Gotta
he
be.
donated to her? For those of y'all who aren't familiar with who Shiloh is, I believe her name is Shiloh Hendricks. Let's put her full name on blast. And she is a white woman who was at the park and allegedly a young black child who was 5 years old and autistic. That part's not allegedly, that part is facts. The allegedly part is he allegedly stole something from her kid, I want to say, or took a toy or something
Yeah. Like a little stuffed
regular,
animal or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
something very regular for a 5 year old to do, you know what I mean? And she responded by calling him the N word with the hard R. Now, another gentleman was at the park. He heard this, pulls his phone out, starts questioning her, like, hey, what the fuck's wrong with you? Why would you say that? He's a little kid, blah, blah, blah. She calls him an effing N word to his face with, again, the hard R. This video goes viral. She says that she is in danger now, and she can't have a job now. I want to say she lost her job as a result. And she's getting threats and all of this kind of stuff, so she needs money. And as a result of this, she put out not a GoFundMe, but the same type of thing. It was like Gifts and Go or some shit like that. I
Something
think
like
it's
that.
called. And she raised $600,000. Now at the same time, there's a young man named Carmelo Anthony. He's a high school student. He was involved in an altercation with a fellow student who, if you listen to one side of the story, politely asked him to leave and he just stabbed him out of nowhere. And if you listen to the other side of the story, was very aggressive and was like being physical, trying to get him out of their area. And he replied with that stabbing. Either way, the white kid got stabbed. And so Carmelo Anthony also has a GoFundMe, and they are trying to raise money for his legal fees. So they're trying to compare the two, mainstream media. They're saying, oh, well, black people are sending money to Carmelo Anthony for his legal fees. Why is it racist for white people to give money to Shiloh? So that's the story. She raised $600,000 for calling a 5-year-old black kid, autistic black kid, mind you, the N word.
Right.
Thoughts, everybody?
People love comparing shit that they don't even compare. Like that don't even, you know what I mean? That don't even correlate. One of them, the lady called a 5-year-old autistic kid the N word. You know what I mean? Like, why? I don't even understand why we are supporting. Well, I guess I understand why they would support it, but I don't see how that's the same thing. You know what I mean?
Right. It's
Not
apples and
not at all.
oranges.
So it's twofold with this. One, let's go to an actual like kind of serious discussion. We all know about the wealth gap, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is familiar, that is what 12. I think it's $12 for $1, which is a white dollar, is a black dollar. They have, for every $1 we have, they have 12 more. Might even be some, the wealth gap might even be more, right? So we get mad when we have a GoFundMe. It's hard for us to raise $100,000 because oh my God.
Mhm.
Then when you see these racist white people who have a median household income, which is 3, 4, 5 times of us. Oh shit, let me give let me give this girl $100, you know, and then they raise $1 million in 6 hours. You're like, oh my God, they're supporting it. You're mad, you're just mad at the number that they were able to raise because of the wealth gap. That's what's so triggering to us, you know, is that we get caught in this, oh my God, I can't believe they support racism. Because the wealth gap is what it is, I'm a firm believer in fuck around and find out. There is
Yeah.
no, there is no, there being, so a hate crime is a hate crime, but being racist is not a hate crime. You
Right.
know, so so get it back in flesh, get it in blood, like just because we're not, you're not going to erase the wealth gap, you're not going to erase it. So as soon as that mother called my autistic son a nigga, why I was defending my child, I have no idea. I'm so sorry. Now her, that's fair exchange, no robbery, right there. Because you're never gonna win the internet battle. She's never gonna apologize. She's not gonna be sorry. You're not. You get it back right on site, right then and there, and that's your only immediate recourse. Because if she's gonna be famous before and go through this whole figure 8 stages of grief and, oh my God, I'm suffering and I don't know what's going on, and and she done made all the rounds. It's Dr. Phil, it's her on this show, and then she goes to it's gonna make all of them, and you're gonna be sitting there like, oh my God, I can't believe that my son suffered like this, and he ain't got no scholarship. That little fight, that nothing's gonna happen in a positive light because you were the victim of this. So
Oh, I mean, I did hear that they were trying to find his GoFundMe or his Give Send Go. I think that they did actually find it. The thing that was interesting though was that the family took it down. And what I suspect, because I did some digging myself, I actually I did something very dangerous, y'all. I decided to join in the shade room comments.
Ooh,
And
shit.
oh,
yes,
you never
yes,
read the comments.
Not
bro.
those comments anyway.
I was up in the comments
I
and I was like, oh,
appreciate
I
your
feel like
dedication to the show. You know what I'm saying? That's very, you're dedicated.
I had to do my research. So I was like, guys, if anybody can find this kid's GoFundMe, I would love for you guys to send it to me. So many people, are like liking it, sending, stuff to me. But I actually had someone send it to me and tell me that it was taken down. They think that they were possibly like maybe they were getting threatened because I did end up finding the man who was recording. He had his own GoFundMe or Give Send Go or whatever, and he was raising a good amount of money. So I was really happy about that. But he was saying that his family was actually getting death threats. They had the other side, you know what I mean? The other side decided to leak his address, his name, the information about his family. He's now worried because he has like 4 kids. One of them is autistic, and he usually has to play outside because he just, gets a little bit overstimulated being indoors. And so his, safe space or his happy time is outdoors. So now, though, he can't really have his kid out there because he's like, people have been driving by my house. People have been talking about, keeping up with my family schedule. So I think possibly maybe you could make some money being a victim of this situation. However, is it necessarily worth the risk? Shiloh herself also, like you said, was complaining about getting doxxed. So obviously she had a dose of it. And I mean, I guess the money's going to help, but still, she's probably going to have to continue to move. So yeah, I
I,
think that's probably why it's been hard to find the other, the little kid.
I think my thing is like, just for people who are pretending like this is the same thing at all, like these are two completely different fights that they're having. So there is no comparison. Like the only thing that is in common is that there's a racial element to it. That's the only thing that's the same thing here. You know what I'm saying? So in the one situation, the claim is that it was a self-defense situation, right? That's the claim, is that that's what Carmelo Anthony's family is saying. They're saying that yes, my son stabbed, I'm not sure what the white kid's name is, no disrespect and rest in peace, because it sucks anytime anybody dies, especially when you're really young like that. So it's I'm not happy or anything like that. At the same time, the black family, Carmelo's family is basically saying this white kid acted aggressive towards my kid and it was a self-defense situation, so that's what they're saying. And they're saying in order for him to be able to have a defense in court, we need to be able to raise money in order to get a lawyer. That's what the GoFundMe was for. You know what I'm saying? It's to get legal funds so that I can have my day in court. I'm not saying I didn't do it. I just need to explain why it happened. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing. Shiloh basically unprovoked attacks a child verbally, you know what I'm saying? Like, and is essentially being rewarded for it. That's the difference to me, because it's like you chose to do that. You know what I mean? Like that was a 100% you thing. You were the adult in the situation. There's no, like, the power imbalance is in your favor. So you can't act like, oh, I was just defending myself, or I was just defending. Like that's out of the window. You know what I'm saying? You can't really say that in this situation. So the only other explanation for everybody supporting her and feeling bad for her is because everybody who donated would see themselves doing something similar. In my opinion, that's the only reason you can actually you can support that, if you see yourself in the same situation. You know what I mean? Like I would call a kid the N-word who was messing with my kid too. So I will donate to her. Like that's the only thing that makes sense to me. Because outside of that, it's like she did this to herself. You know what I'm saying? Like no company wants an open racist representing them. So that's probably why she lost her job. Because they're like, oh, you're an open racist and you're all over the internet. We can't have that representing us. So you got to go. You know what I mean? That's your fault. Like if no one else will hire you for the same reason, again, that's your fault for committing the action. Like everything about this situation that negative happened to you is entirely because of you. So if that's the case, then how can I have sympathy for you, when it's time to, consider this in any other type of way? I guess that's my thing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of feeling the fuck around and find out method. The more I think about it, I'm like, if you're gonna get paid anyway, instead of pulling my camera out, you know what I mean? Just slap the shit out of him and just, move on. You know what I mean? So I do have my son is autistic. He's 5 years old. And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, what would I do if that happened? I have to punch somebody in the eye or something. You know what I mean? You can't just
You know how every homeowner who has, if you're a gun owner and you just wake up and you hope you hear that bump in the night and you just grab, you get the grab, you like, oh, what was that? Somebody kicking in yo. You know how you just like, oh, I'm ready for it. I'm gonna go into action.
Yeah.
That never happens to you because you're prepared for it, right?
Right.
You're sitting there prepared that you're never gonna be in that situation where you're gonna get the let off John Wick style because somebody's breaking into your family trying to hurt you. Like that's not gonna happen.
Right.
But because I feel that way about racism too. I've never been in a racist situation like that because I'm prepared for it. And because I can exert extreme violence at a very fast pace, I will never put in that situation to where a white woman will come up to me and spit on me at Chipotle, or I will get smacked by that's never going to happen to me because the video is not of me going like, oh my God, what happened? It's damn, like it's so that's an instant thing with me. So because I'm already know that about myself, I just know that I'm never going to be put in that situation to where that's going to happen. I can look at all of these videos and say, oh damn, what I know what I would have done. In every racist video that you see with an encounter with somebody or somebody doing something crazy, I already know I would have. The moment you get too close to me,
right?
The moment, like it's yeah, it turned into the why you ain't eat it cold. That's
So
that's
true.
it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that would never happen to me because I'm prepared. So I feel like more people should get prepared. I feel like more people get caught up in these situations to where they don't know how they would react in them. But like you said, you have your own son. And if somebody was to disrespect, first of all, it's your son. Let's not let's lay we're gonna layer it just like they layer it. That you're a father protecting your son. Now, when you get into the weeds of the story and they do the deeper dive, now we find out that your son is autistic and that you are now helping your autistic son who get this instant. Now it becomes more egregious and more insensitive and more validated and vindicated because not only were you defending your son, you were defending your special And for the record, I don't think autism is a disability. I think it is ability, and that comes from me watching The Accountant. I would love, I would love to, I would so love to have an acute focus, like
Yeah.
to be there, like that shit. That shit is a legit superpower, and not like it's not nothing to be like. Oh my god, he's like quite no. That if you can acute focus and hyper fixate on something and just do that, like there, and this is no shade. There was an autistic bodybuilder and this dude is destroying because literally it is the consistency of eat, gym, sleep, repeat. Like that's all he does.
Yeah.
There does not do anything else. He does. There is no game. There is like what he eats is about the gym. What like his whole. So like people are like, oh my god, his body's. Of course he's gonna win. He has no outside distractions.
Yeah.
None.
Mhm.
So yeah, shout out to the dads like you,
I
who
appreciate
who will protect their sons and do what needs to be done.
Got to, man. Got to. The whole clan, man. As a father, you the head of the household. The me it goes God first, then the father. So
See, what? Hold on. What? That? See, I
yeah.
told you Kurt was gonna be speaking today.
It all comes back around, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
God be with Diddy and with Cassie and everybody going through what they going through, you know what I'm saying? Because Diddy
Shout
is
out to
going
you,
to
nigga.
hell. If you believe in hell and heaven, Diddy's going to hell. I feel very confident saying that. So
Hey,
what's up?
I'm gonna give you the podcast.
What
I'm
y'all
gonna give you.
heard?
I'm gonna give you a podcast award. That's not an award. That is a hell of a segue.
Yeah, like what God
Like
first.
nigga, that was a hell like nigga when they say like for the podcast of best segue, that is the nomination clip that we're gonna use for you because damn, like,
Hey man,
Damn.
I'm just trying to be a professional out here. You feel me?
yeah,
I'm gonna have to listen back so I can hear what he said.
Allie, I
I'm
want
gonna
to know, Allie, I really am curious on your thoughts on this though. Like, and I want you to go as long as you want because I'm seeing a lot of bullshit on the internet. Like after Cassie's testimony and shit, people, coming out defending this nigga and oh, she was a willing participant. And what do you think?
Okay. So the way that I look at it is I really do believe that they had a relationship. I do believe that they explored sexually. I'm sure that he introduced her to a lot of new things. And I believe that at the beginning, maybe it was innocent, maybe it was fun, it was, playful, whatever. I think, though, that a lot of times with a situation or a person who might be a little bit predatory, it is usually a slow build. So a lot of times they don't just like jump you right into it. I think someone had said it perfectly. There was an analogy where someone was talking about a lot of times people will say like you don't put a frog in boiling water to cook it. Like you don't immediately just put a live frog in the boiling water because it's going to jump out of the pot. No, instead you put it in lukewarm regular room temperature water and then you start to warm it up and you start to turn up the heat until it is boiling alive. And I feel like something like that is what we're hearing from Cassie's situation, the way that she's retelling it is like, yeah, at first I wanted to be his main chick. At first I thought it was just me and him. Then I started learning he had other partners. Then I started learning he wanted to do other things in these freak offs. Then I started learning he was going to beat my ass if I didn't want to do these things in these freak offs. It became something that was much greater than what she had initially signed up for. And then, the whole, like the power dynamic in general, they signed her to a 10 album deal. What in the fuck? That is, I feel like worse than selling your, the next 10 years of your life. Like, I feel like that's worse because you don't know, like, albums take months to years to make. So to put yourself in, sign yourself up with that, I'm just like, you already signed a deal with the devil. Seriously, when I heard that deal, I was like, oh my God, that's insane to me. And then on top of the whole relationship dynamic, it's just, I can't even imagine it. So I just can't believe that people are sitting there and being so black and white about it, being so like, oh, couldn't be me, couldn't be me. Like, doubt it. I really doubt it. I really feel like if a millionaire, billionaire came in, swooped you off your feet, gave you everything that you wanted, I think that you would get in the water and you wouldn't realize that you were getting boiled alive until it was pretty fucking toasty in there. So I don't know. I think that we'll see more. I think that it's very telling. I mean, one, she's very pregnant. So at first it seemed very telling that they brought her on stand first. We now realize that it's also timing. She's very pregnant. She's almost due. So they needed to get her out of the way. But also, just imagine if this is the first person on the stand, w- what the fuck are we about to listen to next? They're talking about the sex slave has been found. He's ready to talk. Cassie, in her retelling of the whole situation, corroborated that sex slave story. So we're going to see what that is all about very soon. Kid Cudi also has to pull up. Remember that rumor about Diddy blowing his car up because he was so jealous about him and Cassie? Yeah, he's going to come up on the stand himself and we're going to hear about what he has to say. And then there's some other people. I think Michael B. Jordan got subpoenaed. There's quite a few. Dawn Richards just got off the stand.
Yep.
I mean, and she also corroborated the story that Cassie had. Basically some stories that Cassie had told us about, and one that we had no idea that existed. One about he was about to use a skillet upside her head. I
Right.
mean, it just gets crazier and crazier. So if anybody's sitting there defending Diddy, I'm just like,
Well, that's always the
you,
caveat.
you got
That's
a lot
always
of
the
nerve.
caveat. Everyone always does that. They're always like, I'm not saying that what you did was right, but, and then they just proceed to shit on Cassie the whole rest of the time. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, okay, you can say that, but we know what you mean, nigga. Like, all the focus is on everything Cassie did wrong. So it's like, you can say, I'm not saying what Diddy did was right or whatever, but like, nigga, when you're putting all your energy in one direction, we know how you feel. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of people are telling on themselves right now. That's what I'm seeing.
They're
Like,
also
cause this shit.
only
Go
they're
ahead.
also only doing all this because it's Cassie. And if this was Jane Doe up there, we would feel totally differently about this situation.
So speak
And
on that. Do you think that's like more like they feel less sympathy for her because she's like, what do you mean by because she's Cassie?
because and this has nothing to really do with Cassie herself in general, but I'm just speaking freely. If you have a woman in the industry who is well known, who kind of gets brought up out of obscurity from nowhere, people are already looking at her sideways. We
Okay.
have seen countless examples of women who just get judged who seemingly get brought up out of nowhere and then they get made careers out of, and then everyone judges them from the back end because they just don't know what they did to get those careers. Amber Rose comes to mind, for example.
Yeah.
So, like it happens a lot, but it happens more to the women who are celebrities because of how much more they are scrutinized with all of the public perception, everything else that we may think that we know about them, et cetera, et cetera. So I think in this case, yeah, if it's just Jane Doe up there telling these exact same stories, we see that exact same video, but it's not Cassie and it's somebody else. I think people look at this story a whole lot differently than they're looking at it now. But because it's Cassie, they can go back and be like, oh, but we know this about her past, and we know this, she did this, and she did this too, and oh, remember she was with this person, and it's like, who the fuck cares really? Like in this instance, it's like, who the fuck really cares? Number one. Number two, I think people are forgetting a lot of what Diddy is actually on trial for.
Yes.
He's not even really on charge for a full RICO. It is, but it's mostly just racketeering, which is part of a RICO. So that's one thing. Number two, it's the sex trafficking part that people are missing out, that people are missing in this. So you can look at Cassie's story and feel however you want to feel about it. But the fact of the matter is if there's more stories that come out that are similar in this manner, then I don't really see how you can really look at Diddy as anything other than a monster.
I mean, and on top of that,
wait, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I don't mean to cut you off. I just thought about one more
Finish your
thing.
thought. Finish your thought.
Because I heard this narrative running around a couple of days this week, and here's my thing. Because Allie, you said something that actually I wanted to speak on too. It is absolutely insane to me that Cassie was signed for a 10 album deal, and we only got one, maybe two out of that.
Yeah, the joint with me and you on it, right? That was it.
Yeah, something crazy like that. Now, let's look at that first album, that debut album. Yes, that album was really, really well received upon first release, but that wasn't because of Diddy. That was a Ryan Leslie project.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
People forget about that, how locked in her and Ryan Leslie were. However, that doesn't excuse any of the behavior from Diddy afterwards, after that whole situation happened. I don't really care how the split happened. Like, because they talked about that in court a little bit too. However the split happened, it happened. I don't really care about that. But the actions from Diddy afterwards to basically completely derail this woman's career, and then basically use her however you see fit afterwards. Like, I don't care that if she ended up getting hooked on some of the same drugs that you were. Like, I don't care if she ended up liking some of these freak-offs. Like, none of that shit matters at the end of the day. The fact of the matter is she was brought into a situation, just like Allie said, where it very quickly snowballed. And you can only see how big a snowball is going to get until you see it roll down the hill all the way. Until you see it roll down the hill all the way, you can only judge based off of visual how big that snowball is actually going to be. The snowball might break apart before it reaches the end. It might not even form a full snowball. But you won't know until you see it go all the way down the hill.
And the other thing about it is a pimp's bottom bitch is also a victim. You know what I'm saying? So like, what they're saying is
that ain't the Detroit thing I've ever heard in my life. I swear to
God, that is some hella Detroit shit.
I'm wrong though. I'm wrong.
That
like,
is the most Detroit.
Not at all.
That's what, if we look at it, like if we look at it from a street aspect, that's what this is, right? Diddy's the pimp, Cassie's the bottom bitch, and it's her job to go out and procure other people. And what does the bottom bitch do? She goes out to go get other prostitutes to be on the team because it's disarming when a woman comes at you versus a dude. It's the Andrew Tate method. It's the same shit. They call it the lover boy method in Europe. But that's what it is. You send a woman out to basically recruit for you, and then you ease them in, basically like how Allie was describing, until the frog's being boiled. You know what I'm saying? That's a perfect metaphor. So that's also a bottom bitch for a pimp though. Like, she's also a victim because she's been abused and she's been trafficked and all of this stuff, and she's now been convinced that it's a good idea, and so now she's out trying to get other hoes for him. You know what I'm saying? That's what Cassie became. So it's like, yeah, she might have been planning the freak offs. That's the correlation I'm making here. She might have been planning the freak offs, participating, having fun, like you said, even at certain points, doing drugs, balling out, doing it all up. None of that takes away the fact that she's a victim.
Okay, Olivia.
I'm just saying. You know what I'm
That
saying?
you
Like,
just described
Mhm.
season 24, nigga, with Olivia was getting her son back in the whole cartoon. That was you got some Dick Wolf in you. I give you that. That was a very executive produced episode in screenplay. I'm gonna tell you this. Why are we mad at Diddy? Because all of this has come to light, or like we're debating the details of what he did or did not do. Let's rewind. Let's rewind. When he was with J Lo and Shine took the rap, right? Because you know Diddy shot the dude, apparently, allegedly, and Shine, he put that whole case on Shine, derailed his career, sent him to prison, and he got kicked out of the country, right?
mm-hmm,
20 years later, we find out that was false, or serious holes in the story that we didn't know then. If Diddy was to go to jail for that, right?
mm-hmm.
And none of this came out, and he gets the same amount of time for what's coming out now, isn't that just karma? Because this is what I'm saying. Like, we know he has done some questionable things in the past and literally gotten away with them. Gotten a,
Mm-hmm.
and if you really want to go into your bag of tricks, you can go into the pockmark, and all the rest of that. If you really want to put some emphasis on it, on circumstantial, that he's gotten away with this. So whether you agree with Diddy or disagree with Diddy or the details, I also feel like his karma is coming full circle. Because even if you say he didn't do this, but he did do that, but he didn't, he's gotten away with so much before that he guilty of something, and they caught him up on this. Now, as far as the whole Cassie thing, Cassie was portrayed to be a victim of, like, it's hard for me to say, because I agree with you that she started out maybe as a victim, but then she was a willing participant. So does that?
But I even got to question that though, just because we saw the video. That video was from not from 2008 or no shit like that. Like that video was recent. You know what I'm saying? So how willing of a participant was she? You get what I'm saying? Like maybe sometimes, but there are clearly sometimes where she was trying to get the fuck out of there and he beat her ass and made her stay. So at that point, you're a victim. Like that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I don't really.
I I think when everybody knows a toxic couple.
Yes.
Everyone, you know, there are levels to toxicity that we've seen them in that dynamic. It's a human element, because whether you have hundreds of dollars like me, or you got billions of dollars like Diddy, you can still be in a toxic relationship. It's just a means
100%.
and the end. It's just how far we gonna go in this toxicity, and be, and it just depends. But through all of this,
There's a difference between toxic and dangerous though, also, right? I mean,
no,
just
no, because that's the same thing. I know baby mamas who done shot up their baby daddy car and vice versa, and they've been toxic and they've done the domestic violence route and did all of it, but they not gonna leave each other. You gonna let her sleep
right,
on the couch? Yeah,
but that's
see,
what I'm saying. That's violence though. I'm saying like you can be toxic without that, right? Like that's two different things, is what I'm saying. Like I could understand like somebody who stays around even though they're like maybe getting manipulated or they're being lied to all the time or they're being yelled at, like maybe verbal abuse. That's not violence per se. Um, and they stay in a relationship and people on the outside look in and be like, man, why would you stay with this person? But they're not hitting you or nothing like that. Like, but that's still toxic though. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
it's definitely a predator and prey situation.
Yeah,
I think,
I
and it's a
don't.
lot. My
Go
fault.
ahead, Chris. No, go
But I was
ahead.
gonna say it's a lot different too when you got a lot of money and power and influence. Like it's a lot harder to, you can go to the police and you can go to she tried to go to friends and family and stuff like that. But I think she said like Nicki Minaj was like, millions of women will kill to be in your position and stuff like that. So it's like the resources are a little different when is everybody is no toxic couples, but the resources are a little different when you're dealing with somebody who's toxic and a super influential multimillionaire. You feel me? So
Right, they know judges and or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a little
yes.
different when you know the law enforcement that's supposed to be prosecuting you versus because that's why I think you get away with it for so long because he has a violent history. Like that's the thing. Like we're acting like this just happened. Like he slapped Drake. He was known to beat up people at his parties at Howard. Like there's a history of violent stories associated with Diddy. He possibly, maybe, allegedly, according to Keefe D, had Tupac killed.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? What if that's true? Like, you know what I mean? Like this nigga has a history. So it's like
I got a question.
this isn't the first thing. Like
this is a devil's advocate question. This is not a how you feel. This is we're gonna say everything is true, hypothetically, right?
Okay.
Is because most villains are, people who we, put on these lists or whatever, like, oh yeah, I would be like Frank Lucas. I would be like, I want to be Big Meats. I've never heard nobody say they want to be like Diddy.
Right.
Not even back then.
I hear that all the time. Ab-Soul was calling himself Puff Daddy for a long time, man. I hear a lot of rappers say that, like, compare myself to Puff. Like, I can't think of nobody off the top of my head, but I think it was Ab-Soul or Schoolboy Q was like, yeah, call me Puffy. Like, that was just his nickname for a while. I hear that a lot. Rappers
that makes sense because he a stoner though, so that's what that was more so. That was like a play off of how much weed he smokes. I think. I don't think that was.
I hear a lot of people say, damn, I wish I could think of all the top. I done heard rappers say I'm the new Puff Daddy or the new P Diddy. It might just been Kanye, but I feel like I hear it a lot for some reason, or I heard it a lot before now. Now it's like it done switched over.
I think the difference is that back then niggas wanted to be like Diddy the mogul.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's who they wanted to be. Like they didn't necessarily want to be Diddy like himself, but what he represented, the shit that he was building, like the talent that he had around him, the talent that it seemed like he was so easily able to cultivate. Like, yeah, I think if you ask people if they wanted that type of lifestyle, then yeah, they would probably say yeah.
No,
but if you ask them specifically, do I want to be Diddy? That's where it's a little different.
That's what I'm saying. Do you like, is Diddy elevated to a level that, like, oh yeah, Diddy was it maybe this is maybe a better way of saying it. Everybody remembers the Chappelle show, Wayne Brady, right?
Yeah.
This is Diddy was out here slapping bitches. Like, Diddy? We had this image of who Diddy was and what he was doing, the Ciroc Diddy? Like, I mean, come on. I mean, to know that, first of all, to know that Diddy had this much gangster in him. First, to throw a grenade at somebody is hella gangster. Whether they're in the car or not, just to pull the pin and throw a grenade, your level of off the chainness is a level not reached since slavery. Like,
right.
He is doing some mob shit, like trying to bomb Cuddy's car.
I was just getting ready to say, like, can we talk about that for a second? Like, who do you know that makes bombs, nigga?
Yeah, Diddy was doing some Soprano shit for show.
I think about that
like
a lot.
Nigga is crazy. And like that is just the surface. Like what we're about to find out, I can only imagine.
Because I'll even with what I just said, I'll relate that to what you said, Marcus. We all, if you watched The Sopranos, you looked at Tony as the fucking man in that show, but you also looked at Tony and you also saw the back life and saw how much pain he was going through, how much stress he was going through, the therapy sessions, like all this other shit. So it's like, yeah, maybe I do want the some of the lifestyle and some of the perks that comes with how you live, but then I also see the backside of it, and it's like, no, I don't want to go through all that other shit that you're going through either. Going through the police constantly chasing me down. I gotta possibly move my family to another state. My mob family is beefing. People are turning on me. Like, there's much more other shit that was going on in that show to make you be like, yeah, that fun stuff looks fun, but I'm cool on all that other shit.
Ain't worth it.
Yeah, gotta show both sides.
You know what? You know somebody else who is also living a crazy life right now is Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez got stabbed up.
He's clinging
Y'all heard
on to
about
a
that?
life right now.
Bruh. I was gonna look it up because I want to see if it's been confirmed by the jail or the hospital because apparently we're getting this news from his Instagram. So and we can only, take that with a grain of salt. So I wanted to double check. I mean, not that I'm saying that he didn't get stabbed, but I want to understand the story because from what they're saying, he got stabbed 14 times all over his body, like in his torso, lungs, back of his head, everywhere. And it apparently caused both of his lungs to collapse. However, his dad is retelling some story about him after having his lungs collapse. He's talking and talking about how he was going to give up, but he's not going to give up. He wants to go to the hospital. He wants to live. So then they rush him to the hospital. He talks some speech or whatever, and it's like, wait a minute. If your lungs have collapsed, how are you talking right now? If you're stabbed all over your body,
Speak
how in the
nothing
hell
of
are you
this.
talking?
I put my hands on you. Speak nothing of this. That's how we going. Yeah, we're gonna Kevin Gates. Speak nothing of this. That's what Tory. That's how we speak nothing of this. Because
I'm gonna come out and say something controversial, possibly. If this story is true, I hope Tory's all right. Even with everything going on with him, hope everything's all right. However, there's one case that I am so over talking about and so over hearing new things pop up. It is probably this Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion case. And the reason I say that is because I think everybody's lying.
Yeah, I'm like, do we believe this new security nigga? Do we believe this new nigga who done came out and he's like, I'm Tory Lanez security guard, and actually I overheard Kelsey say that she's the one that shot Meg. This happens the day after the news that he got stabbed comes out. Do we believe this nigga?
No.
No.
Nigga manipulating the media. He done paid somebody to come stab him with a toothbrush 14 times.
Yeah,
and then, you know what I mean? To try
First
to change.
of all, let's look at the nigga who said the dude who is claiming to be Tory's bodyguard. What's he in there locked up for right now? Anybody know?
Well, I don't know if he was in jail. Like, I don't know if he's a dude in jail who said this, but
and it was Kelsey's bodyguard.
But he wasn't there. Is the point though? He wasn't there when Meg got shot. Is the point?
Yeah.
And where the fuck were you when the testimony was going on? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Tory, why didn't you just get on the stand and be like, I didn't shoot, I don't know who did? Like, that's sort of, I guess you can look at it like snitching, but not really. All you're doing is saying, I didn't do it. You're not pointing the finger and giving names at that point. You're leading them to a very easy conclusion. But say that then, nigga. Like, don't get out here and be saying all of this now. Like, see, like, because now he's co-signing it and shit from what I understand. Like, see, it was Kelsey, blah, blah, blah. And it's like
what you mean it was Kelsey? Like, we heard that one voicemail that you did, or that one conversation that you had with Kelsey, like the night afterwards.
From jail.
From jail.
Right.
So, I mean,
and this is one thing I didn't realize until like the other day, which I should have been up on, but I didn't. And Marcus, I'll let you finish what you was gonna say. But I didn't realize that in the door cam footage that they got from one of the neighbors, if you enhance the audio, you can hear this nigga Tory Lanez saying "dance, bitch" when the gunshots are going on. I swear to God, I just saw this shit the other day. I was like, oh, that was real.
Yeah,
that really was saying "dance, bitch."
That was the number one thing I didn't believe about this case, and then
I didn't believe that either. And
yeah, because that just sounded too unbelievable.
I was like, oh shit!
Wow.
You know, this is gonna go back to your Detroit roots. right? You know,
Up dog.
we know Tory. First of all, she's called Megan the Stallion, right? Meaning that she is over 6 feet, respectfully 160 pounds, a full balanced breakfast, right?
Uh-huh.
Tory Lanez is about 5'2", 116 pounds on a wet day.
Couple of fish sticks.
You know, so
Couple of fish
that,
sticks. That's it.
but
Nowhere near a meal.
and Kelsey is a full size appetizer as well, right?
Yes.
You know, so you got Kelsey and you got Megan Thee Stallion, and we are to believe that Tory Lanez pimping is so strong that he over here saying dance bitch, and he's living his best life in the back of this vehicle, and he's having the time of his life,
While
right?
Kelsey's shooting at Meg on his
Yeah.
behalf.
And so it's not
Like,
the story of the facts. You're right. Everybody's lying, because you want to know who's lying the most. I don't believe that Tory's pimp game is that strong. I just don't believe that. I don't think his. I could be wrong. I just don't believe he got enough pimping in him to pull off both of these. So I feel like he's more of a victim because his pimping was left there. But I do not believe that his pimp game was that long, because this is gonna sound so ignorant. We see what Diddy's pimp game is like. you see, and you see who his, and for the record, even with Diddy, you know, they made some ignorant comment. They was like, you know, Cassie is really not a victim. She's really the real Suki. And then I cannot unsee and hear that right now. I was like, that is wild. But that's what I'm saying. I just don't believe. I think Tory, I just don't believe he pulled. I think he got one of them. I think his pimp game is a good for one of them, whether it was Meg, whether it was Kelly. I don't know.
You know, based off of everything that you just said, there's only one question I have about this whole case.
Okay.
Where's Kylie Jenner?
Word. They
Why
was
isn't
leaving
she even
her
questioning
party.
any of this?
Yeah, that's a
This
good
all
question.
started at her house.
It all started at her house. They was arguing at her, allegedly. They was arguing at her house, and then all got kicked out because Tory was trying to fuck Kylie, I guess. And Meg and Kelsey obviously had issues with that. You know what I'm saying? Because he's fucking both of them. And they got issues with each other because he's fucking both of them. So this was just a
What's the mama
where is
name?
Kylie?
What's the mama
Maybe
of
his
the
pin hand
Kardashians?
is a little stronger than we think.
Chris made sure that you ain't. She knows what happened from. Hey, take her name from the report. She was never here. They left the house, and then start your investigation at 9:23. Nothing before, nothing before 9:23 exists.
Yeah.
They left these premises. Here
At
is
9:10, damn it.
Yeah,
Like, it was a whole 13 minutes before anything popped off. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Whatever that ring cam footage says,
Yeah.
that shit is off.
Because she has been quiet as a church mouse throughout this whole thing.
That's a fact.
And you see where it's gotten her.
Right. You see, yep, she's still chilling.
Yeah. Yeah, she
Yeah,
should probably just continue to chill.
Yep.
every now and then it'll pop out with Travis and then break up with him again. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. That's all she on.
That's
Hey,
about it.
somebody had pointed out that Tory Lane's been a little crazy, man. Like speaking of Travis, remember that old video where he was like trying to fight Travis on the tour bus or something like that?
I
He was yelling at him.
remember that.
Yeah, it's like this nigga is a little off his rocker. Because Travis Scott is like 6'2". Like, you feel you know what I mean? Like,
and Travis is skinny,
syndrome is
but
real.
nah, I'm taking Travis in that fight.
yeah, I was like, bro. So I believe that he would shoot at. I don't think, again, like just based off of her story, Meg Thee Stallion's story. Her story makes the most sense to me, I guess. Like he wasn't shooting at her. He was like shooting at the ground or something. That sounds like a crazy nigga who's short. That sounds like some shit that they would do. You know what I mean?
And let's not remember. Let us not forget. I mean, let us not forget. Let's not remember. That's so stupid. Let us not forget that when Megan Thee Stallion did that damn interview with Gail, and
Yeah.
Gail asked her, "Have you slept with Tory?"
Like,
And
like sex?
yeah, like so, we gonna look at you, bitch. What? Like, come on.
Should just said yeah. She should just say yeah, and it would have been.
Yeah, that's
She
what I'm
should've-
saying. If she
You
would have
could
just
have
been
just said,
upfront, a
Because then
whole lot of
nothing
this
else,
would be cleared.
because that's and going back to the Cassie situation, that's what she did right in this whole thing. She told the truth even about shit that made her look suspect. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Even the shit that makes her look crazy. And it's like, damn, you was on that. She was honest about all of it. So there's no reason for us not to believe her. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? When she says all this other shit, because she already done said the shit that makes her look bad. She's like, yep, that happened. Yep, that's me saying that. Yep, I did that. Yep, that was me. You know what I'm saying? She done already been there and did that part. That was the part that Meg tried to skip. And
Yeah.
it ended up making. And if we're being realistic, that's a very reasonable lie, especially for a woman. Women like to keep their bedroom situations discreet most of the time.
And she wasn't in court. She was.
Yeah, if it wouldn't have been in court.
It was on a talk show.
Yeah, if this wouldn't have involved a court case, nobody would give a fuck.
Yeah.
Right. Right. So that's my thing. I'm like, that's a lie that women will tell. And you know what I'm saying? They'll, you know, a lot of times they'll, you know, because for various reasons, because public shame, you know what I'm saying, for, you know, being hoes or whatever, like all of this kind of stuff. So it's like, it's very reasonable in my mind for a woman to lie about sleeping with somebody, especially like you said, Chris, given the situation. It wasn't in court. Once she was in court and she was under oath, the truth came out. She was like, yeah, you know, you know what I'm saying? So like that makes sense. Like that lie makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So it's like everything else about the story that from her perspective also makes sense. So it's like I can let go of that lie, like, because that one I understand it. Like,
yeah, she was embarrassed.
Yeah, that lie was funny.
Yeah,
because we knew it was a lie. That was why it was
Oh,
funny.
oh, bruh. When
He
I
was
tell
like, "Oh, come
you,
on."
watching that, instantly I knew. And I was just like, oh my God. Like, they're gonna flame your
Yeah, I'm like,
ass.
damn, your PR
Like,
team didn't even train you to lie good on that one, did they?
yeah, like
not at all. Or at least tell Gail, there's no fucking way you can ask that shit. There's
Right.
no fucking way.
All right.
Gail was like,
But
come on, if you're gonna be on this show,
I'm asking that.
Right.
Hey, real quick, two things. One, I feel like Diddy is not doing anything that one of them sheiks in Dubai is paying Instagram models to sign the NDA to do.
That's a
You
fact.
I don't disagree with you at all.
You know, that's why they go over there and do it, you know, and then they come back, oh yeah, we baddies. Yeah, no, you're NDAs. That's really what it comes down to. So I really feel that like Diddy has shined a light into an underground scene that like we'll never be a part of. Like some of the stories, like I couldn't even fathom doing. Like me, and then just like we had the question earlier, you know, off air, like who would you have your once in a lifetime fantasy person with? And then if I'm Diddy, and then it's like, oh, that's who's on your list. Let me get that for you. And then now that person is off my list, and now I got to go to my number 2 and 3, 4, 5. Like that's a crazy lifestyle that we're not living. We're not living. We're not.
Yeah.
Nah.
And I think for the better, honestly, because if it leads down to freak offs, if the road is that, hell no, I'm good.
But so
like Shane says, like Shane always says, having anything over $1 billion just makes you into a fucking weirdo, and we're just seeing it happen in real time with all these different billionaires.
Mm-hmm.
1,000.
There's a number. I don't know
1,000%.
what the number is. I think it's lower than $1 billion. It's somewhere between. I don't know what the number is, but there is a number that once you make a certain amount of money, and I'm not even talking on no conspiracy Illuminati shit, like people start coming and oh, you're at this. I'm not even talking about that. I'm saying psychologically, I think something happens to humans when they accumulate so much wealth. Something happens to where they like. I don't know any normal like 100 millionaires. Like anybody, any of them who just act regular. None. I can't think of one. You know what I'm saying? Like all
No,
of them are eccentric in some way.
that's not true. That's not
Who?
true. One of my business, Mark Cuban.
No, that nigga's eccentric. He's calmed down in recent years, but that nigga, he used to be. Remember how Tom Cruise was jumping all over Oprah's couch? That used to be Mark Cuban at all the Dallas games back in the day. He was, and he's the only owner who acted like that. So no, he doesn't count either. Like,
Yeah, nah.
Okay.
It's like you get when
that's
you get
weird. Like I'm not saying like he's evil. I'm just saying that you're weird. Like so you get weird at a certain point. Now there's levels to weird, but like I don't know, man. Like there's a certain number, there's a dollar amount where I just see people just start just doing weird shit where it's just like you would never do that. Like if
It's
you had
almost
$10
like when you get
million, you would never do
to
like
that. I don't know what that number is either, but it's like when you get to the level where you could essentially lose like a life's worth of money and then still have another life's worth left.
yeah,
Like, you know what I
when you
mean?
have that much money, you just start doing whatever you want all the time
Just
and
because.
don't give a fuck about the consequences. And I think that's what happens. That's actually what it is. I think I just
Yeah.
answered my own question.
Mhm.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
They're just void of consequences. So they're like, I'm just going to do whatever I want all the time.
Yeah.
I think it's.
Go ahead.
I was going to say I think everybody got a little bit of weird in them, but I think when you get a certain amount of money to where nobody can tell you no, some people let that entice them to let the weird side out a little bit more. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. Like some people just been rich so long that it's like you don't even know what is normal society anymore. You don't even know what's normal.
Right.
You just do it, you know. That's how I look at it. Like you get to a certain level, you just like, you know, I'm gonna just have my woman come on the red carpet with me, butt ass naked, with a plastic dress on, and you just do whatever, you know.
Well, we also say I think that kind of proves our point too with what we talked about earlier with that wealth gap conversation. You know, to have financial freedom and peace, everybody on this podcast, the immediate thing is isolation. When if you gave me $1 billion tomorrow, only the people who I want to see me would see me. Now, if I had $1 billion and it's been 40 years, I want everybody to see me. I had $1 billion at one, you know, it's a different now. I don't have to be isolated. Now it's more of a flex, or you know, my family does this, or you know, it's just new levels, new devils type, you know. So we always say what you would do and how you would act, you know. I'm disappearing because that's for me, but my grandchildren or children, you know, they might not want to disappear. You know, I want to be outside. Yeah, and we always say young niggas, what these young billionaire kids is crazy as fuck too. Like, I mean, look at Elon's kids, bro.
Man.
See? That right there. That right
Man.
there.
Which ones are you talking about? There's like
It don't
13
matter.
of them motherfuckers.
Ain't none of them right.
Kid, look at his dad. Ooh.
That's what I'm saying. He ain't right.
Yeah, ain't none of them invited to the cookout. Ain't none of them you like, oh yeah, I'm they all got something. And it's just like we touched on it earlier. Like, look at LeBron's family, right?
Mm-hmm.
All somewhat family dynamic successful.
Mm-hmm.
That should be the flex.
Yeah.
We talk now. Look at Michael Jordan's family. Yeah, not so much of a flex. Like, you know, like, and that's you know, that's being funny, but just putting two, you know, child versus child, you know, nephew versus you know, you just can't. You can't. My daddy did this. Your daddy was great. That's not you. And you know, that's kind of like where we're at with all of this. And you know, Diddy just didn't disappear. You know, Diddy was outside and loud. What it can't, you know, too loud. What did Samuel L. Jackson say on the halftime? Too loud, Mr. Lamar.
What did my man say? What my man's Frank Lucas say to his cousin in American Gangster? What you doing with that big ass fur coat up in here, man? You're too loud. You're making too much noise. The
Right.
loudest one in the room is the weakest one in the room.
And I'm gonna give you two loud moments that are iconic. Vote or Die by Diddy and Ciroc Boys.
I'm gonna give you a third one, loud as hell. That nigga's hair. That nigga ran
That
out of hair
mohawk?
dye in that prison, didn't he?
Mm.
All that nigga shit gray and silvery up. Yeah, that's what you look like, nigga. All that hair dye. Yeah, yeah. This is the real
No
Diddy right here
Beijing.
coming out.
Yeah, no more Beijing for you, buddy.
Right, right.
I'm gonna go. He got game on you. You got a lot of hate in your heart, son.
Hey man. You know, I enjoy seeing evil people get taken down because it doesn't happen enough. Unfortunately, I think it happens um more, you know, to black powerful men than it does across the board. And I think that gives license for people to defend Diddy because they're like, oh, they're just trying to take another black man down, which is like, yeah, that's part of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that that's an outrageous thing to say, but I also think he's a monster that should be put away. You know what I'm saying? So because he did everything that like the actual definitions of sex trafficking and all of that stuff, he did all that shit. Like there's it's not even really a question. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to hinge the argument on no, it wasn't trafficking, it was just domestic violence. So you're flat out admitting that you beat her on multiple occasions all the time. So regardless of whatever else, like there's enough there that we know for sure happened to where I have no sympathy for anything that happens to you going forward. I can also acknowledge though that they don't do the same thing to white billionaires. You know what I'm saying? Like unless you know it's so obvious or it's so in the media that you have to say something like on some Jeffrey Epstein shit or you know like Roman Polanski back in the day, like different people like that you might hear about, but there's way more R. Kelly, Diddy, you know, that type of stuff. Like it feels like, you know, Bill Cosby, you know, there's way more on that side of it. It feels like during Me Too a little bit, it was a little bit more even because you had was Harvey Weinstein and, you know, different people like that or whatever. But for the most part, it is kind of uneven. So I do understand the gut reaction of some black people where they're like, yeah, but they're just trying to like, because there is a lot of that. And I do think that is a part of this. Like, I don't want to discount that. But with all that said, the nigga's still a monster and fucking.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, in this instance, it has to go both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, 1000%. You know, okay, I got one very creepy fact, and then I feel like that's about it. That's all I gotta say about this case. So, all right, do you guys remember when Cassie came forward with this whole situation? Remember, she went to Diddy and she had written a book and she was gonna drop it, but she told him, hey, cut me a check for $30 million. This book never sees the light of day. Remember, he ended up, they remember they settled, right? But there was a book. The name of the book was called The Dark Times. If you guys remember the speech that Diddy said, remember that Lifetime Achievement Award
For that
speech?
Love album.
Oh yeah, for the yeah.
Yes, for the Love album. And I forgot what award ceremony though. Was it MTV Awards or VMA Awards? It was one of those. One of
Yeah,
those.
because I
He
remember
got
we talked about it on here.
exactly. So yeah, so
Mhm.
I'm like, we know, we all remember that speech. Well, there's a part in the speech. Remember when he's thanking everybody? He ends with like he's like ending up the speech and he ends it with saying, and to Cassie, thank you so much for holding me down through the dark times. And then he stares at the camera. And I kid you not, it was like a very awkward, weird pause because he was just looking dead ass at the camera for a minute. Go back, watch watch it at its regular time. Don't watch one that's, you know, been sped up or slowed down or whatever. Watch it. It is still fucking creepy. And I really think that maybe he was trying to intimidate her and was like trying to like flaunt like, you know, like I'm not gonna pay you, like, you know what I mean, like Thanks for holding me down. I don't know. I don't know because I don't think at the time he had paid her yet. But shit was just very, very creepy and very full circle.
That whole album rollout and him changing his name to Love and that whole situation, it reads as extremely weird now.
Hmm.
I mean, it was
Very
weird to me then just
coincidental.
because there was already like certain little shit about Diddy that was out there, you know, but it was
Yeah.
more so just that he was extremely freaky. It wasn't necessarily to this level. It was more like, like the Diddy party thing has been a thing for a while, like, but it was just looked at as like, you know, some freaky shit's gonna happen and it's gonna be like a big ass like party, like damn near like a college party all the time. Like that's how, like that was sort of the impression that I feel like most people had of it for a long time. And it was just like, yeah, there might be some fucking going on, but whatever, like, you know, celebrities in Hollywood, whatever. And it was sort of just looked at as that. But you know, I don't know. Like, I feel like when he did the Love thing, then it was like, all right, what do you like? This is weird. Because then around the same time, I want to say, the Fabulous clip came out where he was like, "Well, we ain't never partied together though." And Fab was like, "I came to your birthday that one year. What you talking about?" And he was like, "Nah, but we ain't like never really like party though." Like, and he was drunk, and it was on Drink Champs.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I remember that.
And like
Who
that was
else was there
because
too? There was a third person that was there too, right?
yeah, it
Jadakiss?
was either Jadakiss, it was either
because
Kiss
I
or
remember
Drugs
when
or
he
somebody.
said that, Jada started looking at Diddy like, bro, what the
Like,
fuck?
what the fuck is wrong with this nigga? Like, because 50 references this all the time. You know what I'm saying? He always talks about that, and then he talks about when Diddy wanted to take him shopping. And he was like, what the
Oh,
fuck you mean you
yeah.
want to take me shopping, nigga? Like, what are you talking about right now? Like, so him changing his name to Love at that point, I was already like, what you doing, man? Like,
Yeah, I
you know what I'm
remember that.
saying? Like,
I remember that because there was, or it was around that time when like little videos started to pop up and be like, y'all notice anything weird about this nigga Diddy lately? Like,
yeah.
So y'all,
it was like one of those little things, and then it like started off as like a funny thing, and it's like now it's like, ah, damn.
Yeah, now it's not funny.
got
Now
dark
it's
as
like,
hell.
oh
Right.
shit.
so y'all remember Hannibal Buress, right? The comedian.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you remember when he quote unquote blew up the spot of Bill Cosby, right?
He is the reason that everybody started taking it serious.
You know, right. So let's fast forward. Now I can't say the same about Diddy, but Cat Williams said you got to tell P. Diddy no.
Hey, Cat ain't been wrong about nobody that he spoke about in that interview yet. Not one thing that he said has been wrong yet. Not a thing. That's insane. Like,
what did Cat Williams know at the top of what year was that? Last year?
That was last year.
Yeah.
That was the top of 2024.
What the fuck did he do to just figure out all this shit that was about to happen?
Because he's with the shits, but he's not with the shits, if that makes sense. You know,
that's 100% what it is.
You know, hey, Cat, come on, what y'all got going on? Y'all got some, oh no, that is not for me. Y'all have a great night, but I'm never gonna speak about this again. I'm gonna go
Remember
over
that
there.
one special he had when he said he was like Hollywood, the nigga will just sniff cocaine right in front of you. They'll just be like, yeah, so blah 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 blah, and he'd be like, nigga, you know I can see you, nigga. Like, it's on your nose still. He was like, and then you walk past rooms, and he, come here. Is that two niggas kissing? Like he was talking about that in his first stand-up special. You know what I'm saying? So it's like Cat has been very consistent with everything he's been saying his whole career too. It's just that he's Cat and he's funny, so nobody took it serious. He had to deliver it in a serious until he delivered it in a serious way. He wasn't joking on that Shannon.
No, he was not.
And he also said it in a way that absolved anyone of a name. So he was even when you said the whole cocaine line bit, we have no idea what party that was at,
right?
Who he was talking to, where he was at, you know, and it's Cat Williams. So who was like, oh, I did do a line in front of Cat and Bump. they never he never was like, man, you ain't gonna believe when they invited me to the Marvel universe. What actor on like
Right.
you it was never narrowed down to where you could do a deep dive and like, oh yeah, it was just a
Hell
party.
no.
So yeah, I mean, 50 was right. Diddy wasn't in the closet, he was in the hallway.
Shout out my birthday, nigga 50, man. That's
Yeah.
why he can do no wrong, even if, you know what I'm saying, he does wrong. I'll find an excuse for it every time.
I just gotta say this, nigga. How long have we been on this podcast, bro?
Today,
Yeah,
this one
like
right
because
now,
there's no clock, and I just feel like we was the
A
AI
little
bots.
long.
Oh yeah, there is no clock. This is weird. I have no idea how long this has been going for.
I know.
My
We've been going
whole
long enough. Allie, take
family
us
didn't
home.
change clothes on my ass.
Right, I was gonna say it was a long one. Okay, all right. Thank you guys so much for watching Bar Exam. If we missed anything, let us know in the comments. Make sure you guys also hit that subscribe button and join us here every single Monday for a new episode of Bar Exam. You can also catch us on Patreon at the Ethos Media Network Patreon page for more candid conversations. And yeah, that's about it. I guess I'll see you guys later. Make sure you guys are here next Monday for a new episode. Talk to you later. Bye. This is Bar Exam.